Part of the spiritual awakening process for me was coming to terms with the knowledge of awareness that I had an addiction to drama and an addiction to the kind of drama that kept me in a loop. It kept me looping in the way that it fed into a pattern, into a system, into a modality within my psyche, within my being, because I was so used to that addiction of that drama. The drama, I felt safe in it because I grew up in an environment where I was in drama all the time. I was constantly in drama when I grew up. So for me, the process of being in drama was a place that I felt like I was safe. And it wasn't until I began to become self-aware enough to realize that what I was experiencing, what I was feeding into with my thoughts, with my words, with my actions, I began to understand that I was in a feedback loop that was it was very dense, and it kept me in a place of experiencing torrid and very, very, very how can I put this now? Nasty and negative experiences in my perception. And I kept feeding into that through the nature of my thoughts and my anxieties and my fears. I wasn't in alignment with my heart in any way, and I wasn't aware at the time I was experiencing this, that the easiest way for me to get out of this feedback loop was to come into a place of attention and put my awareness in my heart chakra, my heart energy vortex, because I wasn't even that cluey enough to understand the nature of the chakra system, of the energetic system, of the all the systems and modalities of the avatar itself, the dense energy, the density of the body, the energetic bodies that come around the actual physical body. I wasn't aware of any of these, and of course I wasn't aware of my thought process because I wasn't fully aware or mindful enough to understand that my thoughts, the patterns that were tuning around and around in my head and what I was feeding into were in regards to my projections in my mind through my anxieties of being in this feedback loop, like bricks and mortar to create the walls around me that kept me from being able to experience any goodness in my life, any thoughts of gratitude, of love, of respect, of humor, of joy. And what I was doing in my life was I was bringing into my life, due to the nature of my hamster wheel being spinning round and round and round, of these negative thoughts, emotions, and experiences. It was a feedback loop that I could never see out of. And eventually my awareness put me to a place through meditation where I was able to see this. I began to realize that there were traumas in my life, there were patterns in my life that had been installed in my programming through my experiences, most importantly. And the feeling in my body of those experiences, the feeling whenever I was triggered to remember an experience in my life, it would immediately, my body would transit into a place of the feeling emotional, a biochemical response to that feeling of how I felt in that trauma. And by being in that place, going to that place instantaneously in a biochemical experience, my resonance, and I didn't know this until many years after getting out of this loop and understanding the nature of the use of affirmations for me anyway, in a more positive, abundant sense, in a more connective sense. The book by Stuart Wilde, Affirmations, was a book that really changed my life in regards to helping me through this, because I was affirming to much more powerful and stronger thoughts of abundance, of clarity, of healing, and of connection. But at the time I was feeding into this feedback loop, I'd have this resonance going out into the world, and of course, being magnets that we are in regards to being creators, I was drawing into my life all the experiences that made my anxieties go through the roof. Lately, a lot of my friends who I've been hanging out with who have just had their spiritual awakenings, a few people I know have had their spiritual awakenings in the last 5 to 10 years. And I know what they're going through because I experienced it myself. You have these dark nights of the soul, but you also have the ability to become aware of your behavior, your thoughts, deeds, and actions. And it's the strength and conviction that one needs to be able to reframe their reality in a way that no longer feeds into this particular modality or feedback loop of emotions, words, actions, and stories. The more we talk about the story, words have power. We cast spells with words. The more we feed back into the story, oh, this is happening, and this is happening in my life because this is happening, and this is happening, and blah, 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 blah. Onwards and onwards and onwards. You're feeding back into the story. You're putting the bricks and mortar into the walls in place that break you from the circuit of being able to connect to something much more powerful, connective, loving, heart-centered, and align with that energy. You know, it's a big call to make because you don't see the changes often instantaneously when you make these decisions around use of affirmations. For me, it was 6 months of daily using up to 20 affirmations daily, but I began to see the small incremental changes in my life experience of the affirmations that Stuart Wilde left in the book, or gave us in the book, Affirmations, that I began to see these incremental changes, not only in my life experience, but what I was saying, how I was choosing to use my words, what stories I was telling, and what I was experiencing. And by actually going through this process, and it did take a while to get to this place, I reprogrammed my mind, my brain, my mind. I use the word mind here because for me, my study of the use of the word mind is, as I have to agree with David Icke on this, mind is a form of, it's a frequency band, and that our antennae of our body attunes to, and that's on the thought level, right? Not on the heart level, on the thought level, the brain level. So it resonates out of the energy, in my perspective, resonates with the brain's electromagnetic field. And when we grow up, as we grow in regards to the avatar grows, and us as a being within the avatar forgets who we truly are. And my perception, the thought processes are like a bank, an energy bank, what we feed into, and the AI, which is in my perception as well, within this frequency band, it collects that data and it puts it around you and near in your energetic field, like a bag which you draw on, you know. And the AI is smart enough, obviously, to be able to direct the thought processes at you due to the nature of the resonance you have with each other. The AI and yourself, the energy, the frequency that beams into your mind, your brain, and from the mind comes in, and therefore the cycle continues. But if you train your thought processes to connect in a way that's from your heart chakra, you bypass the mind and go to source, to prime creator, to God or first cause. And by connecting from your heart vortex in that way, you go beyond the program, and you connect to that which you are, and you remember who you are and what you are. You're not the avatar, you're the being within the avatar, and you really begin to understand this. And once you do that, through this rewiring of the thought processes, for me, it was foreign. It was so foreign to me to go through this process, because I'm so used to what I considered to be safe for me, which was the drama. And I was totally addicted to it, 110%. So I was more used to the drama than I was to the no drama in my life. You know, the ease, the alignment that came with the affirmations and me connecting from my heart energy, my heart vortex, to the abundance, to the alignment, to the joy, to the bewilderment, to the wonder, to the beauty of existence, right? And the connection to that energy. But eventually there came a tipping point where my energy through my affirmations every day and my resonance got to that tipping point where I completely clocked out of mind, at least when I was fully self-aware, out of mind and into a place of deep heart connection and gratitude. When I got to that place, my life changed instantaneously. And all the dramas that I created for myself before I got to this place of the tipping point vanished. I began to have very different experiences. I began to pull people into my life that were mirrors for me to show me the parts of myself in regards to my psyche, not my spirit, but my psyche, and my own karma of creating what I experienced before that moment. It held up a mirror for me to show me what I needed to heal, what I needed to become aware of, what I needed to address in order to keep moving along this path from my heart chakra, my heart vortex, to a place of deeper connection to first cause. And that's one of the, although it can be, it's very enlightening in this process to get to that place, it can be difficult as well. It can be, in my experience, it can be difficult to come to this place, because once you come to that, you come into that space where you really are resonant. This is your resonance. Your point of awareness and attention is here, and your resonance is here. You are deeply in alignment. But all the, in my experience, all of the forms of that keep you out of alignment, all the energies, modalities, patterns that keep you out of alignment, come to the fore of your awareness. And this is the opportunity to heal those, to delete those programs, to replace them with more affirmative and more positive, and I wouldn't say colluding, but more energetically encapsulating energies from the heart vortex. But by being aware of that which limited me in many ways, in my life, and the patterns that were installed in me from childhood, and becoming aware of those, it gave me an opportunity to direct my energy and make different choices and use different language in regards to moving forward from that moment. And it's still continuing for me. I'm in that process now, but I'm seeing people around me who are in their spiritual awakenings, who are in that feedback loop, and I recognize myself in them empathically. I totally do. And this is one thing for empaths, in my experience, to be very aware of, is that when we have moved through this, and we are still moving through this process of becoming self-aware, it's really important when you're around people who aren't so self-aware, or if they are self-aware but aren't doing the work, even though you're asking the right questions of them, in regards to helping them to see that for themselves and holding up a mirror yourself for them in their spiritual journeys, spiritual awakening journeys, in their self-awareness journeys, and you're holding up those mirrors for them to have strong boundaries as you go through this process. Because if you don't have strong boundaries, you're going to be around people that are in this process who are drawn to you because of the nature of how you resonate into the world through the use of words, actions, and language, and thought processes. You're going to draw them into your world because you are vibrating on a very higher, not a higher, but you're vibrating on a faster energetic cycle because of the nature of you're connecting from your heart. But once you're in that space, when these people come into your life and they're drawn into your life because of the energy you are exuding into the world, there's a chance that while you're here and they're there, let's say you're here and you're there, they're here behind you, in that sense, in regards to the speed of your resonance, there's a chance that you interacting with them, they can bring you back quite easily to their place rather than you bringing them forward. It's a lot easier for you to fall back than it is for you to come forward, in my experience, right? And I'm finding myself in this space where I am here and someone's here, that I have to often stay here and hold a very strong boundary here when I'm dealing with someone back here who's resonating in a very slow, dense, anxiety, fear-based loop, Because I know what it's like to be there, and I don't want to bring myself back to their level to experience what they're experiencing. I want to be here and hold my energy here. As an empath, it can be quite difficult. But remain here and do my best not to project my energy in any way, but to be open to ask the right questions. Whereas the man or woman here that's in this space can, in their own time, it might come through attrition. Asking the same questions or wording your questions in a different way. They finally have the awareness to hear what you're saying, and then maybe through their own work and processes, they begin to move forward incrementally towards where you are, and then together you can move forward in that energy of awareness. So for me, the addiction to drama was massive, and now I don't have it. I don't have an addiction to drama. I have addiction to other attributes of life, but not to drama. One of those addictions is to breathing air. And maybe dark chocolate, but that's okay. Thanks for watching. I truly appreciate it. Mā te ua. I'll see you again soon.